Internet, Yoke here. I wanted to talk to you about my playtests and also a couple of other things, but playtests first. So I compiled all this stuff, all the feedback I got from my playtests to huge to-do list, and I'll mention that as well. But I tried to get a lot more playtesters this time than the previous version because I still need feedback from my experienced players, and I also need feedback from a couple of new players, like what is the first time experience with this game and stuff like that. So I tried to increase the amount of playtesters this time, and I think that was successful because I got a shit ton of feedback and a couple of really top-notch items on my to-do list, and I think that's really good. So for the to-do list, I tried to categorize them. I don't usually do that, but I tried categorizing them this time, and I split them up into 4 groups. So I wrote down pretty much anything that my playtesters said and then summarized them and put them in one of these 4 groups. So the first group, that is like priority 1, you need to fix this as soon as possible, and I put a couple of posts, a couple of tasks or items in there, whatever you want to call them, where the game is crashing or it's a really big thing. Like you can't ignore this. You need to fix this right now, ASAP. And that was, I think it was a crash. I think it was a couple of graphical errors that just made the game unplayable. Pretty much the lighting thing, like all my lighting was inverted because OpenGL and DirectX does not use the same coordinate system when rendering UV maps. Great. But I fixed that, and a couple of other things that was like super critical. You need to fix this. And category number 2 was like, it's important to fix this, but it's not vital. It's not, I mean, it has to be done sooner or later, but there's no rush. Like major balance issues or other big stuff. I don't really have a good example right now, but I should probably fix that. But I mean, big issues, but not critical. So stuff missing, sprites missing, enemies spawning on top of each other, enemies stopping, like they stopped moving, and all that stuff. And a third category was minor things, like I should probably not reuse this sprite over here. I should probably increase this number, like go from 5 to 7, and not spawn as many enemies right over here, and not reuse this place as much, and stuff like that. So minor things, and there was a lot of minor things, so it's taking a lot of time to complete them all. Still not sure why I'm doing hand gestures when you can't see my hands, but well, I'm working on it. And the 4th category was pretty much everything new. So the first 3 categories were addressing stuff that is already in the game, in like already in the game. And the 4th category was new stuff. So new ideas, either from me or from the playtesters, and like new features that would enhance the game. Like this feature would make the game super awesome. It's like, yeah, I agree. Category number 4, because I need to fix all my old stuff before adding even more stuff into the mix. So new features ended up there, and like big design overhauls and big rebalancing issues and stuff like that. So that ended up in the category number 4, and I really enjoyed categorizing them because it made it much easier to just, okay, what do I need to fix right now? Because we all know that when you make a to-do list, you always want to go from top to bottom. It's like, well, this time I'm gonna be a good boy and complete all the tasks in order, so everything is completed. But you never do that. You always pick the path of least resistance, or simply just ignore the boring stuff. So I have a couple of bugs. I have a couple of really important things that I need to fix, like the enemies spawning on top of each other. I don't think that that should ever happen, but I can fix that later, right? So stuff like that ends up still being on the to-do list, because I can't complete my whole to-do list before getting bored. So, but it helped. It helped categorizing them, and it helped just grabbing the to-do list, like what do I really need to fix right now. And it also helped me prolong the new stuff, or like wait with the new stuff. So I mean, adding new stuff is always more fun, right? So I want to add new stuff like straight away. Like, oh, I really need to explore this new idea. Like, oh, creating your own crafting system. That sounds super juicy. I want to do that. But instead of doing that on day one, I ended up waiting doing that, and I still haven't tested it because I'm not done with my old stuff. And there we go. And well, categorizing a to-do list is something I would probably try to do even more, and I recommend it. At least try it. And I'm looking at my notes here, and next thing I did was like I realized that my trees, like or there's nothing wrong with the trees, but the forest, like the whole picture, the big picture, looks like shit because the player is 32 sprites, 32 pixels high, and the trees are also 32 pixels high, and it made sense when I made it, but when you look at a picture of the game looks really empty. Like the forest looked empty, and I didn't really like that because it doesn't really give you the feeling, like the atmosphere that I wanted. So I changed that, and I changed it after having a minor breakdown, like the kind of breakdown where you just lie on your couch and bury your head under all the pillows that you can find, and just thinking to yourself, why am I doing this? The game looks like shit. No one will ever be interested in this shit. And after like 20 minutes, I decided to, well, fuck these trees, man. I will make new trees, and I will make them look phantasmo. And I found a way to draw trees that actually looks good. I think they look really good. So I made them 64 pixels high instead of 32. And now the forest look dense, like it looks more dense, and it gives you the feeling of being in a forest instead of being on, I don't know, in your garden. So it added quite a lot to the game. But since everything in the background is twice as high, that means that it will cover the playground, the play field, the play area. So right now, a tree is covering the player or the tile 100% because it's twice as high and stuff like that. And there are a couple of ways to solve this. I mean, I could make it so that the background generator is not putting trees on the bottom of the screen. That's a simple way to fix it, right? Problem then is that you can pretty much see where the play area is. Like when you're entering a new level, you can see the outline, the bottom outline of the level. It's like, well, there are no trees here, so it should probably be a play area here. And that's not good. So what I ended up doing was to just fade out trees that are near the player, and I'm still not 100% satisfied with the way this works right now, but they fade in and fade out depending on how close you are to them and stuff like that, so that the trees does not cover the player or the interesting parts of the play area. So the tiles and stuff like that. What I do need to add is the same feature for enemies, I think, because right now you could just take a stroll in the forest and be like, hey, it looks good, and suddenly you're like, bam, there's a boar here. And because you couldn't see it, because you were moving and he was pretty much hiding behind the tree, and it's like, surprise, and then you die. So I probably need to do something similar for the enemies as well, because, well, I don't want to force player into combat simply because they didn't see the enemy, because they were hidden behind some pretty trees, and that's not good. So I need to fix that as well. And the last thing on my agenda right now is to make sure that I started talking to a guy that is making the music for the game and audio as well, like audio effects and stuff like that. And I have been talking to him earlier, like a couple of years ago, and we were talking about like working together on my previous game. That was the first version of Necken, and we didn't end up working together, and I still think that he's awesome and I want to work with him. So I just sent him an email and saying that, well, we should do some stuff together because I like your stuff and all that. So we need to hash out the details, like what kind of music, what amount of music, how much will it cost, and all that stuff. So that needs to be done as well. And tomorrow, I think, yeah, so tomorrow there is a game jam in the northern part of Sweden. So in 4 cities they will host a game jam simultaneously, and they will like kind of work together. So it will be one game jam on 4 different locations. So I will sign up for that game jam and go there, because I need to get to know more game developers in my town, because I know this many game developers in this town right now. So I need to find a couple of game developers and just say hi and be like, hey, want to grab a beer? Because beer and talking about games is awesome. So that's on the agenda as well. And it's not a 48-hour game jam. It's more like 24 hours almost. And I haven't really done a game in that short amount of time before. So it'll be interesting to see. And I'm not really sure what kind of role I'll be having, because I'm pretty much doing everything except audio. So I could end up being the artist. Hopefully I won't be, because my art is okay, and I still think that someone else would probably do it better. So I don't know. So we'll see. Maybe I'll work alone again, because no one likes my idea. That's what I ended up doing last time, because well, no one really thought my idea was good, and I had a mechanic that I really wanted to try. So I was thinking that, well, why not try it? And I ended up liking it, the game mechanic, but the execution not so much. But Jennifer liked it, so that's good. Yeah. So right now I will edit some videos and talk to the music guy, and also a couple of other administration related things, and then I can continue making the trees in the background. fade out. So that's on my plate right now. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I will see you again next time. Goodbye.